in my own form at the end of if it's the expiry of one posture and the commencement of another, and that blending. And it's really about the front foot, because Jin talks about in his book about that backwards and downward movement. But it's kind of how much of we're talking about the front foot, how much of that pulse up the front foot one allows. He was sort of saying, warning against contraction out of the front foot. But it's interesting to me because that's how you, and certainly obviously people like that, that's how you fall onto their circle. So I'm really keen to know how to train that well, but I don't know if that's perhaps out of context tonight with what you had planned, but that's just where I am, that's all.
Okay. I had a one-on-one with Jin over the summer, and one of the things he said to me in my training is that when you finish a move here, don't move on to the front foot with movement. Let the muscles change to absorb, to receive your body weight, and then move on to the foot.
Yeah.
So it's not, ward off. So you do a push here, and when you move forward, you don't move the body onto the front foot. You make changes on the inside, so the front foot supporting you. Then once you've got that support, you move on to it.
Yeah.
So it's something to offer.
It's useful, thank you.
Yeah, try that in the form and see what difference. I found it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
sure. It's different to how I was taught how to do it before.
Yeah,
makes a big difference.
Hmm.
What I think is interesting is that I've been doing Taiji 38 years. Things keep changing all the time, and as you understand something, or you get told something else, it's like these layers and layers and layers of stuff just gets more and more refined. So some people have a problem with it changing all the time, but I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
That it must stay alive and it must change, and your understanding of what you do must change, and your teacher can push you into refining what you've done already, and the layers that you understand already just enable you to move further with it and change as you move on with it. So
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
Interesting.
Let's start. Oh, here's somebody else. Just wait till someone's coming in who don't know who that. Connecting. Brian, let's start. I'm going to mute everybody.
I've lost you. Oh.
Peter's just coming in. Right. Okay, just have a little shake. Roll the shoulders. Stretch. Breathing in. Release, breathing out. Let the head drop. Let the tail open. Lower back opens. Spine curls. Drop the shoulders behind. Drop the head behind. Curl the spine. Open. And close. Loosening exercises. Parallel. Hands at the height of the shoulders. Release. Make sure that this movement from the center across is releasing. Upright and releasing. Maintaining the principle of being upright chest lifted, head rotated, crown of the head up, long in the back of the neck, just gently dropping the chin, rotating the head, releasing through the whole body. I want to time that releasing so that as I arrive, facing the corner, with all the weight on the right side, that's the end of the releasing. The releasing continues as I release my leg, as I release my upper body, the movement takes place. Muscles in the leg change, the foot softens. Make the foot change, make the muscles in the foot soften. Make the muscles in the calf soften. Feel the support of the body on the knee when you do that. Make the muscles in the thigh change to allow the hips to relax, the hips to rotate. Feel the center settle. Change the muscles in the abdomen. Change the muscles in the chest to let the shoulders drop and the shoulder girdle rotate. Shoulder's not going to rotate, the lower back isn't going to open unless the muscles soften. Continue doing the exercise. I'll just talk you through this. The muscles have to change because the muscles hold us up. The muscles hold us in tension. The muscles give us a dynamic tension, which is really good, but the muscles can change. And when they change, there's a possibility to soften and release and reorganize the sinking body. And this is what we're doing. We're changing the muscles on the inside so that we can organize ourselves into a more stable, connected position. We want to make sure that as we arrive in our most stable, sunk, pressed onto the ground like condition, that we're completely loose. We've given up all the unnecessary tension we need, and we've allowed ourselves to press into ourselves and onto the ground. The knee feels stable, the center feels stable, the chest feels stable, the shoulders and head feel stable. We try and blend what's going on inside the body with the outer movements of the body. Turn to the corner, upright, organized, connected, released. All these overlapping principles. It's very easy to get the movement right, but have the wrong quality. Get the movement right, but not be upright. Get the movement right, be collapsed. Get the movement right, be tense in the body. Be relaxed in the body, but not the right position. All these things can be refined and organized so that we maintain the principle of being upright. We would maintain the principle of being released. We time it so we finish the move at the right time. When the external movement finishes, the internal movement finishes. This is the optimum. Of course, we try and maintain an intention to do as many of those principles as we can. If we're a new person to Tai Chi, there's too much to do. But after a while, staying upright is a fairly normal thing to be. And it becomes semi-natural. We don't have to think about it anymore. After a while, relaxing is a normal thing to do. We have to just focus that we make sure we fully relax. Turning the hips is a normal thing to do after a while. We don't have to think about it. We turn from the hips. We can maintain that turning as we move. So it's upright, releasing, feeling the condition of the body pressed onto the ground. As a starting point, bringing the mind into the body, we're upright. Have to think about upright just a little bit to enliven the crown of the head. Place ourselves between heaven and earth in an upright condition, releasing the tension, blending with gravity, and feeling the result of gravity pressing us onto the ground. Exercise number 2. If you can, take any idea of going up and down the way. Instead of thinking, I'm going to go to a low position and then watching the body go to a low position, try to feel how the muscles in the body are going to allow you to go to a lower position. What do they have to do? Ask the question differently. Ask the question, what do my muscles have to do instead of holding, to let the weight of the body press me into this squashed onto the ground condition? And what do the muscles in the body have to do to keep changing over 4 swings of the arms to enable me to really connect into myself? Can I feel how the muscles are changing? That allows my center to press onto the feet, allows my lower back to open, that allows my chest and my shoulders to drop and connect. So this week I've been, in my work as a sculptor, I've been working a lot with wax. I've been using melting wax. I've just been thinking of watching the wax change under the blowtorch. I've been thinking the blowtorch is like intention, strong intention, and the wax just kind of moves and softens underneath it. And it's almost like your intention is really super focused, like a flamethrower. And your body is like wax and it's just melting. I was just really enjoying this image this week while I was working in my studio. I was just thinking this is a really good metaphor for how we change. Because without the flame, without the intention, without the message to do something, the muscle doesn't change, the wax stays the same. But with that message that comes from a strong focus, there's the possibility for the muscles to respond, and not just in the legs, but throughout the whole body. What does it feel like for the center to stay connected? Patrick used to talk about center pressure, where the pressure of the body on the ground is obvious because you can feel the ground. The pressure of the upper body falling into the lower body isn't so obvious because the lower body is fluid, the upper body is fluid, and where they meet is center pressure. And what does that feel like? Very different sensation from when the body stops and hits the ground, which is immobile. You feel the pressure of the ground coming back into the body, but when the upper body falls into the lower body, what does waist pressure feel like? Same thing when the upper body falls into the mid-body, what does the pressure feel like in the body? There's bound to be some pressure because the weight of the body is falling into itself. The support of the body is there. So we have to identify what that feels like. Keep a strong listening focus on the sensations in the body in order to feel these things, not just take them for granted that it's a movement that we do, but actually strongly feeling into the body to recognize and notice what's the sensation like. I found it once in a class, I found it once in an exercise, I found it once when I was quietly doing the practice by myself. I want to try and find it again. What did I do? What was I working with that helped me find that place where I just settled in and connected meant something different. It wasn't just a word. It wasn't just an idea of being centered, grounded, present, but actually really was something I found in my own practice. And I know everybody's got that experience, but making that available time and time again as a more tangible thing is really what we're doing in our practice. So the simple things of being upright, of being released, and watching the consequence of being released is really a core practice that we can start to get to grapple with and try to understand it more and refine it more and more. Third exercise. Remember, the center line doesn't move across in this one. The weight doesn't move across this way to the foot. The center line stays in place and I turn around the center line, but the connection goes to the foot. So I'm doing something different than moving onto the leg. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the class. I'm not moving onto the leg and turning. I'm actually dropping to the foot. I'm getting that support so that I can turn without having to have the support of the body over the foot. I'm dropping, getting the support and turning. Change the leg, loosen and soften the leg, allow the hips to turn. Change the muscles in the leg, foot, knee, thigh. That will give you some connection. Then you can drop onto it more and turn. You have to actively change the foot. I had an email during the week. Somebody from this class was asking me, how do you practice releasing the body? Each part of the body has to change. So just like a fist, when you soften the fist, it changes. The foot changes. That allows the body in. The calf changes. That allows the knee to connect to the foot. The thigh has to change. That allows the lower back to open. And right the way through the whole body. So the body moves not only in a coordinated way, but in a synchronized way. So one part leads to the next thing taking place. Change, 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 change. Strong intention, like a flamethrower, melting the wax. The body changes. You have to have the intention to change the body, and you have to have the awareness of the result of that change. Number 4. Sinking. Allow the force from the ground up through the body by releasing and sinking. Fifth exercise, turn the foot in. Slightly narrow stance, hips, shoulders facing direction of the front foot. Releasing to the back foot until the front foot's free, just the heel on the ground. Sinking in. So don't think of moving forwards, think about releasing. Think about changing the muscles in the legs so the weight of the body connects you onto the legs. When you're in the center, without moving forwards, without leaning forwards, without pushing the body forwards, drop the connection onto the front foot so the back foot's free. Release back. Without stopping, sinking into the center. Soften the upper body without stopping, connect to the front foot and through. It has to be fluid. You can't stop on the back foot, you can't stop in the middle, you can't stop on the front foot because the forces are dynamic. As you gather, down and through, until the back leg releases. You sit back, you sink down and through and out to the distance, and the body follows. The movement is down into the center and follow the fingers under the ground along the ground and through and up. Down into the center, under your partner's feet, behind your partner, and up through them. Your mind has to continually encourage the body to sink. Because if the body's tight, if the body's coming up, it's disconnected from the force which is in the ground and comes up through the body. If the body's tight, if the body's pushing, if the body's holding, that force isn't going to get through those places. So the body needs to be soft, like a cork resting on the water. The force is going to come through the water and move the cork. So when each part of your body is connected and settled, as the force comes through, there's a wave that travels through your body. If you're coming into the center and you feel your back leg jammed, it probably is jammed. You need to fall into the center so that the back leg can stretch of its own accord. You need to fall onto the front leg, softening the body in such a way that the back leg that was stretched can unstretch. If you go too low, you'll jam the back leg onto the ground, you'll tighten the ankle. You don't need to go very low, you just need to make the changes on the inside of the body. You need to make sure the hips are opening, the lower back's opening, and you go down and through. As you turn this corner this way, you're sinking onto the front foot to allow what is ever in the back leg to expand. You drop the back knee and sink into the center. Go down and through, the back leg can expand. When I first did this, I could probably only do half a dozen, and my legs would be killing me. If that's the case, you're doing too much. You're tightening your muscles, you're moving, the movement is going against the tension in the muscles, and you're making the muscles work too much. You need to change the muscles to allow the body to fall and then through. It shouldn't feel like a great big effort. It shouldn't feel like you're doing very much with the legs at all, other than just softening and changing. Continuing to move and rebound. What you store in the leg has to come back, but it's not a tight tension in order to push, and there isn't any push out of the back leg. You're dropping in. Your back leg is beginning to stretch. The muscle in the back leg is stretching. That needs to unstretch. It unstretches by sinking onto the front leg, so that there's your body weight isn't pushing back onto your back leg, your body weight goes to your front leg. That allows what's in the back leg through. At the same time, you need to soften your upper body onto the front leg to allow that force to come up through your body. Much easier to feel when a partner's pushing onto you. But the trouble is, when a partner's pushing onto you, you tighten to push them. You think you have to push them, so you make the wrong movement with your muscles. Your body needs to be softening. So when the partner's pushing onto you, it's the partner pushing in, your body's still softening, your body's still receiving, your body's still receiving. You're receiving your partner onto the force that's rising through you. There's no point when you try and push your partner. You keep receiving your partner, you keep receiving your partner, we keep receiving your partner. The wave goes through both of you. If anything's mostly misunderstood in Tai Chi, it's the issuing force, because either people are still tight in their body, or they've got the wrong idea that they have to do something. Keep the movement fluid. Don't stop on the back foot. Don't stop in the center. Don't stop on the front foot. Keep the movement going through. Sit back. Draw in the front foot. Push out the heel. I'm going to unmute everybody, and I'm going to ask, I need to see everybody, that one. Okay, can everyone speak? Can I hear people?
Hello.
Yeah, great. Is there anything you want to go over this week? Is there any postures or any principles or any movements that you want to have a chance to look at with me this week?
I think just generally, as I mentioned at the start, it's. I mean, you just covered it in number 5 there. Coming off the front foot is more about releasing backwards rather than anything coming out the front leg. So I guess I can train that in all postures really. But when I push into you, when I push into Jin, it's kind of like that enough is enough to take you right out of the ground as the partner. And, but I guess that's just me, really.
If you push into somebody and they're stabilizing you, gives you strength. So if you're pushing in and somebody's opposing you or supporting you, it gives you something to push against. But as soon as they're releasing, you haven't got anything to land on. You come out of that's what makes you come out. So if you're going to push and there's tension in your hands, or there's tension in your movement, or there's tension in your mind that you want to push, you will subconsciously, your body will tighten to support them, and you do exactly the wrong thing.
Yeah.
This is why it's misunderstood so much, because people try and do the right thing, but they end up doing the wrong thing, either because they haven't really got an understanding what their body's doing, they can't feel what their body's doing, or they're trying to train in the wrong way. You have to be so soft that you're still receptive to whatever your partner's giving you while your wave is coming through. There's a wave that comes through you, not a force that goes out through you. Now, it's the hardest thing to understand in Taiji, but it's actually one of the most interesting things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a hard thing to find. Definitely a hard thing to find.
Well, obviously, in the classics, it sort of says, that Fajin, as it talks about, will be felt through the legs, and of course, you can go down the wrong route with that one.
Yeah.
Create the wrong thing. It's not. It's actually that mind that goes.
Yeah. That's the one. You want to feel like you're still letting go all the time, because as each part of the body softens and lets go onto the part below, you have to keep that process taking place to keep the body connected in a wave. As soon as one of those parts of the body stops changing or tightens, that whole wave is broken. Yeah.
Thank you.
And if the training becomes too fast or too sudden or too busy, any of those things can break really easily. So yeah. Unfortunately, we can't do push hands in this class, but we can bring the ideas into the form. We can bring the ideas of push hands into the form.
Can I just ask, I have watched some of the Jin training videos on YouTube, and what he tends to get his students doing is coming over and just saying, feel my leg, as he's sinking. So I'm assuming that there's changes that are going on within his body can be felt quite strongly from like the outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, Mark's nodding his head. He's been trained with Jin. He's had his hands on it. Very, very definitely feel the changes in the body.
Because that's an interesting concept to see, just hold your own leg, see if you can feel something.
I mean, if you put your hand on your shoulder, and you soften all through the middle of the body and the back, you'll feel the shoulder change.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's what you're feeling when you put your hands on Jin's posture. But it's not a change that's changing out of alignment. It's dropping into alignment more and more.
Yeah, yeah.
As it drops into alignment, it gets stronger. If it was just dropping out of alignment, it's yielding, but it's yielding without the principle of alignment or connectedness, and it's really just floppy. So yes, there's a change going on, but it's always dropping into alignment.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the difference. It's understanding your core, understanding your structure, maintaining the structure, but softening into the structure. This is exactly what we're looking for.
Thank you.
And those changes are subtle but big inside. Ros, you felt Jin change?
I was thinking about he's got me to put a hand on his shoulder, and it was just like butter melting, and I have rocks here, you know, and I thought, how am I gonna find that, you know? But it's years and years. He was just, same with Patrick. You put his fingers on and he moves away like you're touching a feather, you know, and but you can't let go. It's unbelievable.
It gives you a lot of encouragement when you see people of that level and their training. You go, God, how the hell are they doing that? And that becomes a question, you know, that becomes exciting in a way. It's like, if they can do it, they must be doing something they're trying to teach me how to do. And Jin keeps saying, you know, Master Wang was just a bloke. If he was a bloke and could do it, I can do it. And sure enough, 40 years later, he's, you know, but it is something that takes time. Maybe not 40 years, maybe 50.
It's lovely to see it though, isn't it? It's like, wow, you know.
Right. Should we do some form together? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to put us back on mute if that's okay.
No problem.
Let's I've just got a funny thing on the screen which I just want to get rid of. That's it. Let's go from the beginning of the form. You should always wait until your focus, your mind, your awareness, and your body just come together, which means your mind isn't busy running out thinking of other things, but it's settled on your body sensations. To help that, work with an alignment, deliberately opening up the chest, lifting the sternum, lifting the back of the neck, plucking up the crown, releasing and connecting, and feeling the result of settling onto the ground. You scan through, make sure you're releasing any unnecessary holding. And you find that place where you're just simple again, unsettled, and then you begin. As you move, you're not moving across, you're changing your left leg to create the space to allow your movement in, same as the beginning of the first loosening exercise, and you're turning to the corner. Turn back. Soften as you turn back. Keep the body connected as you turn back. Lift. Make sure your changes are taking place the whole time the body's changing. The whole time the outside of the body is changing through space, your inside changes are taking place. You're not just moving back, you're changing on the inside of the body. You're changing your left leg to allow the body to melt onto it. Turn and draw up the right arm. Going to do one movement all the way through. So we're sinking into the center. We're sinking onto the front leg and we're going through to the distance. And with it, the shoulders drop. The wave comes into the wave from the back leg, comes through the body and into the hands. We want that unstretching wave from the back leg. We want the body to drop onto it, the shoulders to drop on, that wave comes through the hands. So we're not pushing the hands out because this is contracting. If a partner was here and I'm contracting, I'm stabilizing them. We want that wave to come through that's soft, that's still got absorbency, that drops the partner in onto our rising force. Then we're on the front leg, turning and stepping, gliding in, positioning and settling. We're not going straight down, we're going down and through. So we're not just dropping into the center because that will make us very strong and static. We're going down and through. That allows the back leg to unstretch, the upper body to soften, the wave to come through into the hands. Down and through. Soften the shoulders, the wave comes through to the hands. Turn. Gliding. As I arrive in the center, my front ball of the foot touches. Position, down and through. This time, down and through. Back leg expands, the hips turn, and it takes me to the corner. So the movement to the corner isn't because I'm pushing the hands out, isn't because I'm turning the waist, it's because the expansion from the back leg pushes my hips and I allow them to turn to the corner. Back leg can only expand when I sink onto the front leg. So I load my legs, I move on to the front leg. As I'm moving onto the front leg, the back leg expands and I allow my hips to turn to the corner. There's the issue to the corner. I don't push my hands out, I soften my upper body. As if someone's pushing in, they press me back onto the force. Wave comes through, an issue in this move. Sink into the center, onto the front leg. As the back leg expands, you go through to the corner. Stay on the front leg, sit back. One move, into the center, the wrist touch, onto the front leg, down and through. Back leg expands, chest softens, wave through the arms. Sit back. Push, one move, down into the center, through onto the front leg. Relax the upper body, wave comes through as the back leg expands. Sit back. Single whip. Into the center, down and through. Back leg expands, relax the upper body, wave comes through to the hands. Just to there, Master Huang said that the principles, when you see one move working well, all the moves will work well. The principles in one move must be in every move. So even though it's just a small bit of the form, you must try to ensure that we're not just learning moves, but we're really trying to embody the principles in each move to your own level. So for some, that'll mean you have to be really focused on being upright. For some, that'll mean you have to be upright and fully released. Some people, you have to look at how your hips move, how your lower back opens, how when your lower back opens, it creates space for your chest to change and open. You'll know from your own practice what's working well, what isn't working well, what you have to put a lot of focus on, what happens naturally. You can ask me any questions about your own practice at any time. If you want me to look at any of your postures in this class, when I say, you know, when I put us back off mute, if you've got any questions, you might say, oh, can you have a look at this? Anything I can see is going to help everybody, because it'll open up a can of worms and allow me to explain some things. So there's a possibility for that as well in this class. If you don't want to do it in a class, send me an email and I'll try and answer it as well, but it's good to do it for everybody. So I don't want to go through every single posture of the form. In time we'll work our way through the form. I want to stay with the beginning of the form, the postures we know really well, and try to make sure they're really, really got the potential to go deeper and more accurate. Okay, that's my intention with this class. We'll do little chunks of the form and slowly we'll work our way through the form. If there are any postures towards the end of the form you're really unclear about and you want to ask earlier on, fine, I can go over them, we can revise them. My intention though is to work through the form steadily, doing 5 or 6 moves in the class. Okay, let's go through the form to there. Just want to see how much longer we've got. We've got about 15 minutes. Takes time for the mind and the body to blend together. So the awareness is on the body sensations, not in a hurry to go anywhere else. It's much more of an examination of how we are rather than am I right or wrong. Much more noticing what's going on rather than accuracy. Returning to a familiar place. Once we find it, we're sinking. We're changing on the inside as we allow the movement to take place through the whole body, staying connected to the foot as we turn back and settling onto both feet, staying connected to the feet by sinking to allow the force up through the body. One smooth movement, down, through, and out. Connect to the front foot, relax onto it, turn. Into the posture, down and through. Into the posture, down and through. Into the posture, centrally stable, down, but not just straight down, down and through. Through means it starts to connect to the front leg, but I'm not moving over the front leg. I'm not leaning in, I'm connecting down onto the front leg, softening the body down to allow the back leg to expand. Down and through. Too much down, body locks. You see a lot of people doing Taiji in really low postures, completely locked. I was looking at someone today, and they'd apparently been studying Master Huang's system, but I didn't see any change in the upper body, and very low, stable, locked onto the ground postures, which we have to find movement and fluidity, like a jellyfish, you know, like a fluid creature that just oozes itself in. So when I say drop into the center, you have to understand what too low is. Too low is that. Not because the body is too low, but because the muscles have stopped changing. And the muscles become rigid when they stop changing. They need to drop into a place that's fluid. Drop into a place that's buoyant and connected, not into a place that's hard. Anytime you really feel your feet on the ground, pressed onto the ground and hard, it's a sign that you stop changing. Because when the body hits the ground, the shock of the body's weight dropping onto the ground, tight, and the tension comes up through the body. And if you're doing push hands with someone and someone hits their foot, it sends a shock through their body that's really easy to feel, and you just let them up and land on your sinking body, and they're in the air. So every time we find the feet hard or find the feet strong, it's an indication that we're not doing the right thing. We need to find the feet in a buoyant way and not to stop, because when we stop that movement, again, we become hard. Find the buoyancy, let the buoyancy roll under the ground and onto the front. Okay, we'll go through the form one more time. Down and through. Down and through. Down and through. Into the center and through. Upright, releasing, connected. Not locking the body up, dropping into a buoyant position and through. Wave comes through to both arms, simple whip. Just going to put us on unmute again. Okay. No, I think everyone's still on mute. Unmute. All participants are unmuted, and we've got a few minutes left. Don't feel like this is too complicated, right? Don't feel overwhelmed with how difficult this practice is, or that you're in a class that's at the wrong level for you. I'm deliberately pushing us to a place that's difficult, deliberately. I'm deliberately asking us to drop in a way that isn't a normal everyday place to be, right? Just part of what Tai Chi is all about. Okay, if Tai Chi was easy, you'd have given up years ago.
Mm.
If you could get it if you could get it in 3 years, you'd now be doing something else. right? This is understanding ourselves, and it takes some effort. So my advice is there's a little bit of homework, which is try and find this place once a day. Right? Notice I'm not saying for a length of time. I'm just saying try and find this place that's a different place within ourselves every day. Tai Chi will get you there. Meditation will get you there. You know, a good bike ride will get you there. Whatever you do that gets you to that place of just feeling, oh, I feel really content and settled in myself. Try and find it in the way that makes it real every day a little bit. That's got far more meaning in this crazy time than many other things than watching a Netflix or something else, you know. Try and find that place. It'll support you. It really supports everybody. And you share it with other people when you find it in yourself. Right? Even if it's just a phone call to someone. This is the real meaning of Tai Chi. Not about being able to throw someone. It's about finding the principles in yourself and then having the ability to expand that into a bigger network and a bigger circle than just yourself. That's the real meaning of Tai Chi. The great ultimate, they call it. It's not a spiritual thing. It's just a natural thing. Just being very natural. And there's nothing special about it. It's just that we lost contact with how to do that. So that's my offering really for a little bit of homework for the week. And if you can do it through practice, if you can find a practice that helps you find that place, great. Then you've got a refuge and you've got a resource that you can use. So that's my offering. So if there's anything anyone wants to share before we call it for the week. Good. Great. Good to see everyone. And Brian, I'll send you that link tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow morning.
Cheers. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, okay. Great. Just thought I'd mention that now. And I'll send the recording either tomorrow or Friday as soon as I can for this class. And we'll see you next week. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye. Yeah, great. Nice one.
Thank you.